There's a 29-year-old barista named Alex who was drowning in three addictions simultaneously: nicotine, alcohol, and the worst one of all, the addiction to believing he was broken beyond repair. Everyone around him had given up. His family stopped calling, his girlfriend left, his college degree was collecting dust while he made lattes for people living the life he'd given up on. But then he discovered 8 tiny Japanese habits, so small they seemed laughable, so simple they felt insulting, yet so powerful they completely rewired his brain in ways psychiatrists couldn't explain. Today, I'm going to show you these exact 8 habits and how they work together like pieces of a puzzle that don't just change your behavior, they change who you are at the identity level. But I need to warn you, these aren't quick fixes or life hacks. They're principles that require you to do things so microscopic that your ego will scream, "This is stupid, this won't work." And that resistance is exactly how you'll know it's working. Subscribe, hit like, and comment which area of your life feels most broken right now. Because what you're about to learn doesn't just fix one problem, it fixes the system that creates all problems. Let's begin. Alex was 29 years old, working the morning shift at a downtown coffee shop, living in a studio apartment that smelled like stale cigarettes and regret, and waking up every single day wondering how his life had become this small. He wasn't supposed to be here. 4 years ago, he had a degree in graphic design, a portfolio agencies were interested in, a girlfriend who believed in him, and a future that looked bright. But somewhere between the pressure to succeed and the fear of failure, he had collapsed inward like a dying star. It started with cigarettes to handle stress, then alcohol to handle the guilt about smoking, then both together to handle the shame of wasting his potential. And before he knew it, he was caught in a loop where every morning he'd promise himself, "Today I'll change," and every night he'd be drunk on his couch watching other people live their dreams on Instagram. His parents stopped asking when he'd get a real job. His friends stopped inviting him to things because he'd always cancel last minute. His girlfriend Emily had left 6 months ago after saying,
"I can't watch you destroy yourself anymore. I love you, but I can't save someone who won't save themselves."
The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning at 6:47 a.m. Alex was opening the coffee shop, hands shaking from last night's drinking, lighting his 4th cigarette before the store even opened, when he saw his reflection in the shop window. He looked 40 years old, not 29. His eyes were hollow, his skin was gray, his hands wouldn't stop trembling. And in that moment, he had a thought that terrified him. "I look like my father did before he died at 52. I'm becoming exactly what I swore I'd never become." His father had been an alcoholic who died of liver failure, and Alex had spent his entire childhood promising himself he'd be different. And now, here he was. Same path, same ending.
That morning, a regular customer named Mr. Sato came in for his usual black coffee. An older Japanese man, probably in his 70s, who always sat by the window reading books in Japanese. Alex made his coffee with shaking hands, and Mr. Sato noticed. "Rough night?" Alex tried to laugh it off. "Yeah, something like that." Mr. Sato looked at him with eyes that had seen everything and said something that changed the trajectory of Alex's entire life. "You know what the difference is between a man who is suffering and a man who is transforming? The suffering man tries to change everything at once and fails. The transforming man changes one tiny thing and watches everything else follow." Alex stared at him confused. "What do you mean?" Mr. Sato smiled. "I used to be like you. Different demons, same cage. I'll be here tomorrow at the same time. If you want to learn how to escape, bring a notebook." That night, Alex couldn't sleep. Not because of alcohol withdrawal, but because something in Mr. Sato's eyes had looked like freedom, like proof that escape was possible. And the next morning, Alex showed up to work 30 minutes early with a notebook he'd bought from the convenience store. Mr. Sato was already sitting at his usual spot by the window, and when Alex sat down across from him with his notebook, the old man didn't smile or offer sympathy. He just said,
"Tell me every bad habit you want to eliminate."
Alex started listing them: smoking a pack a day, drinking 5 nights a week, scrolling on his phone for hours, never exercising, eating garbage food, staying up until 3 a.m., procrastinating on his design portfolio, isolating from everyone who cares about him. Mr. Sato listened without judgment and then said, "Now tell me,
How many times have you tried to quit all of these at once?
Alex thought about it. Maybe 10 times? Every New Year, every birthday, every Monday, I'd swear this time would be different.
And how long did each attempt last?
A week? Maybe 2 weeks maximum? Then I'd relapse on one thing and give up on everything. Mr. Sato nodded like he'd heard this story 1,000 times before.
That's because you're trying to fight a 29-year war with a 2-week battle. Your brain has had 29 years to build these neural pathways, these patterns, these addictions, and you think you can overwrite all of that with willpower and motivation? Impossible.
Then what do I do? I can't keep living like this.
You practice Kaizen.
Mr. Sato wrote the Japanese characters in Alex's notebook.
Kaizen means continuous improvement through changes so small they're almost invisible. 1% better every single day, not 100% better overnight.
Alex felt frustrated.
But I need massive change. I'm destroying my life. And that urgency is exactly what's been destroying you. The panic to change everything immediately is what causes you to change nothing permanently. So here's what you're going to do. For the next 7 days, you're going to delay your first cigarette by exactly 10 minutes.
Alex stared at him. That's it? Just 10 minutes?
That's it. You can still smoke a whole pack if you want. You can still drink. You can still do everything else exactly as you're doing it. But your first cigarette of the day must wait 10 minutes after you wake up.
But how does delaying by 10 minutes help me quit?
It doesn't help you quit. It helps you prove something much more important, that you can control your impulses, even slightly, that you're not completely powerless, that small changes are possible. And once you prove that, everything else becomes possible.
Alex left that conversation feeling confused, almost insulted. He had life-destroying addictions, and this old man was telling him to delay a cigarette by 10 minutes? But he had nothing to lose, so the next morning when his alarm went off and his hand automatically reached for the cigarette pack, he forced himself to wait. He set a timer on his phone for 10 minutes and just sat there. The craving was unbearable. His brain was screaming at him, but he waited. And when the timer went off and he finally lit that cigarette, something tiny had shifted. He had controlled the impulse, even just for 10 minutes. He wasn't completely powerless. Day 2, same thing. Day 3, day 4. By day 7, Alex walked into the coffee shop and Mr. Sato was waiting.
Did you delay every morning?
Yes, every single day. 10 minutes exactly.
How do you feel?
Alex paused. Honestly, it still feels pointless. I'm still smoking a pack a day, but I don't know. I did something I said I would do for 7 days straight. I haven't done that in years. Mr. Sato smiled with deep satisfaction.
You just learned the first principle, Kaizen. Improvement so small your resistance can't stop it. Now you're ready for the second habit.
Keep delaying your first cigarette by 10 minutes, Mr. Sato said.
But now add this. Every morning before you drink coffee or check your phone, you're going to write down one reason you want to be alive today. Just one sentence. It can be something big, like, I want to rebuild my career, or something small, like, I want to finish that book I started. Doesn't matter. But you must write one reason every single morning.
Alex felt resistance immediately. What if I can't think of a reason? What if I genuinely don't want to be alive that day?
Then you write, I want to discover a reason. The act of searching for purpose is itself a purpose. This is called Ikigai, your reason for being. Right now, you wake up to survive, to avoid pain, to numb yourself. But humans can't thrive on avoidance. We need something to move toward, not just something to run from.
That night, Alex stared at his empty notebook. He couldn't think of a single reason he wanted to be alive tomorrow. Everything felt pointless. But then he remembered Mr. Sato's words. The act of searching is itself a purpose. So he wrote, I want to find one thing worth waking up for. The next morning, he wrote, I want to stop disappointing the people who used to believe in me. Day 3, I want to prove my ex-girlfriend was wrong about me being hopeless. Day 4, I want to create something beautiful again. By day 7, something strange was happening. Alex was waking up with a direction. Not a strong pull, not burning motivation, just a whisper of purpose. And whispers are enough to start walking. At their next meeting, Mr. Sato said,
Now we address the body, because you can't rebuild a mind in a broken body. Tell me, what do you eat?
Alex laughed bitterly.
Whatever's cheap and fast. Frozen meals, fast food, energy drinks. I haven't cooked a real meal in months.
Starting today, whatever you eat, you're going to stop eating when you're 80% full. Not stuffed, not satisfied, 80%. This is called Hara Hachi Bu. It's how people in Okinawa live past 100 years old.
How do I know when I'm 80% full?
Halfway through your meal, pause, put down your fork, wait 30 seconds. Ask yourself, could I stop here and be okay? If yes, stop. If no, keep eating, but slowly.
That's it? I can still eat junk food?
For now, yes. We're not changing what you eat yet. We're changing your relationship with consumption, because overeating isn't about food. It's about trying to fill an emotional emptiness with physical fullness. It never works. When you learn to eat until satisfied instead of stuffed, you're teaching your brain that enough is enough. And that lesson applies to everything: alcohol, cigarettes, phone scrolling, everything.
Alex started practicing this immediately, and the first week was uncomfortable. His brain kept saying, "You're still hungry, eat more." But he'd pause and wait, and almost every time, the hunger was just habit, not genuine need.
2 weeks into this practice, Alex had delayed his cigarettes by 10 minutes every morning, written down his Ikigai every day, and was eating to 80% fullness. But he was still smoking, still drinking, still isolated in his apartment. At their next meeting, Mr. Sato said,
"The next habit is called Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing. 3 times a week, you're going to walk to that park 2 blocks from here. You're going to sit under a tree for 15 minutes. No phone, no music, no goal. Just sit and breathe."
Alex immediately resisted. "I don't have time for that. I work long shifts. I'm exhausted."
You have time to scroll Instagram for 2 hours every night. You have 15 minutes 3 times a week. This isn't negotiable. Your nervous system is completely fried from nicotine, alcohol, and chronic stress. Nature is the only thing that resets it. When you sit under trees, your cortisol drops. Your parasympathetic nervous system activates. Your body remembers it's not in constant danger. Alex started forcing himself to go to the park.
The first time he sat under a tree for 15 minutes, he felt ridiculous, like a crazy person, just sitting there, doing nothing. But by minute 10, something shifted. His breathing slowed down. His racing thoughts quieted slightly. He noticed the sound of leaves moving in the wind, the feeling of sun on his skin. For the first time in months, his nervous system wasn't screaming at him. By the 3rd week, he was actually looking forward to those 15 minutes. It became the only part of his day that felt peaceful. One evening during his park time, a woman walking her dog stopped and said, "You're that barista from downtown, right? I see you here every week, just sitting. Are you okay?" Alex smiled for the first time in what felt like forever. "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just practicing being present." That night in his apartment, Alex looked around at the mess. Dishes piled up, clothes everywhere, ashtray overflowing. The whole place was a physical manifestation of his internal chaos. And normally, this would send him into a shame spiral that ended with drinking. But this time, he remembered something Mr. Sato had mentioned: Wabi-Sabi. The next morning, Alex asked Mr. Sato about it. "You mentioned Wabi-Sabi once. What is it?" The old man's eyes lit up.
Wabi-Sabi is the acceptance of imperfection, the beauty of things that are impermanent, incomplete, and imperfect. In the West, you're obsessed with perfection, perfect bodies, perfect lives, perfect Instagram feeds. But that pursuit is exhausting, and it's a lie, because nothing is perfect, nothing lasts forever, and nothing is ever finished. Wabi-Sabi says that's okay. In fact, that's where the beauty is. A cracked coffee cup isn't broken, it's lived. A weathered table isn't old, it's full of history. A mistake isn't a failure, it's proof you're trying. When you embrace Wabi-Sabi, you stop chasing the impossible. You stop comparing yourself to fake perfection. You stop feeling like you're not enough. You can just be.
This hit Alex like a lightning bolt, because his entire life he'd been paralyzed by perfectionism. He wouldn't work on his design portfolio because it's not good enough yet. He wouldn't reach out to old friends because I'm too much of a mess. He wouldn't try to change because I can't do it perfectly, so why try at all? What if I apply this to my apartment? Alex asked. It's a disaster. I'm ashamed of it. Then clean one thing today. Just one. Not the whole apartment. One single surface. One shelf. One corner. Accept that it won't be perfect. Accept that tomorrow it might be messy again. But do one imperfect thing today, and tomorrow do another. That evening, Alex cleaned his kitchen counter. Just that one surface. It took 10 minutes, and when he woke up the next morning and saw that one clean counter in his disaster apartment, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Pride, not in being perfect, but in doing one imperfect thing. 6 weeks into this practice, Alex had reduced his smoking from 20 cigarettes a day to 12, not because he was trying to quit, but because the 10-minute delay kept expanding naturally. He was drinking 3 nights a week instead of 5. He was writing his Ikigai every morning, eating to 80%, sitting under trees, cleaning one small thing daily, and his studio apartment was starting to look less like a depression cave and more like a place a human lived. But then he hit a wall. One Friday night, his old college friend Marcus called. "Dude, we're all meeting at Murphy's bar tonight. You should come. We miss you." Alex felt the pull, the temptation to fall back into old patterns. He could already taste the whiskey, feel the temporary relief. But then he thought about his 7-day streak of only drinking on weekends. If he went tonight, that streak would break. He texted Mr. Sato, struggling. "Friends want to meet at a bar. I want to go, but I know I'll drink too much. What do I do?"
The response came immediately. Practice Gaman, endurance with dignity. Gaman doesn't mean denying your pain or your struggle. It means not letting it control you. You want to see your friends, so go. But you don't have to drink just because they are. Order water or leave after 1 hour. Gaman is choosing your response instead of being controlled by impulse. Alex went to the bar, ordered a soda water with lime so it looked like a drink. His friends gave him shit for it. "Come on, man, 1 beer won't kill you. Since when are you sober?" And Alex felt the social pressure crushing him. But then he remembered Gaman, endure with dignity. He smiled and said, "I'm good with this. I've got an early morning." They pushed a bit more, but eventually gave up. Alex stayed for 45 minutes, laughed with his friends, felt connected to people again, then left, while everyone was still drinking. When he got home, completely sober for the first time after seeing friends in 2 years, he felt a power he'd never experienced before. Self-control. Not through white-knuckling willpower, but through calm choice. At their next meeting, Mr. Sato said,
"You practiced Gaman beautifully. Now I'm going to teach you Omoiyari, compassionate consideration. It's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, to anticipate their needs, to act with kindness, not because you have to, but because you're thinking about how your actions affect others."
How does this relate to my addictions?
Everything. Right now, you're focused inward, on your pain, your struggle, your transformation. That's necessary at first, but sustained change requires you to look outward, because when you shift focus from yourself to others, your own problems shrink. Here's your practice. 3 times this week, do something kind for someone without them knowing it was you. Leave a bigger tip than usual. Hold the door for someone. Clean up a mess that isn't yours. These tiny acts of consideration cost you nothing, but they create a ripple effect that changes how you see yourself. You stop being the guy with problems and become a guy who makes things better.
Alex started small. He started cleaning the coffee shop bathroom even though it wasn't his job, leaving encouraging notes in library books, paying for the coffee of the person behind him in line. One day, a young woman who came in every morning with tired eyes and nursing scrubs found her coffee already paid for. She asked who did it, and Alex just shrugged. Someone wanted to brighten your day. She started crying. "You have no idea how much I needed this. I just worked a 16-hour shift. My patient died. I didn't think I could keep going." And Alex felt something break open in his chest. He had spent months focused on his own pain, and in doing one small act of Omoiyari, he'd reminded himself that everyone is struggling with something. Everyone needs kindness, and he could could be a source of that, even while fighting his own demons. 3 months into his practice with Mr. Sato, Alex had transformed in ways that seemed impossible. He was down to 5 cigarettes a day, drinking only once a week. He'd started working on his design portfolio again. He'd reconnected with his sister. He was sleeping normal hours, eating real food. His apartment was clean. But more than any external change, something internal had shifted. He didn't feel broken anymore. At their meeting that week, Mr. Sato pulled out a small ceramic bowl that was clearly repaired. The cracks were filled with gold that made the bowl more beautiful than it probably was originally. "This is Kintsugi," Mr. Sato said, "the art of repairing broken things with gold. When a bowl or vase breaks in Japan, we don't throw it away, and we don't hide the cracks. We fill them with gold, and the piece becomes more beautiful than before. Kintsugi is a metaphor for your life, Alex. You broke, you failed, you got hurt, you made mistakes, but that doesn't make you worthless. It makes you real." Alex felt tears coming. "I've spent years thinking I was damaged goods, that I'd wasted my potential, that I could never recover what I lost." You can't recover what you lost, but you can build something better. The version of you that comes out of this won't be the same as before you broke. It will be stronger, wiser, more beautiful. Your struggles aren't scars to hide, they're gold to honor. Don't be ashamed of your cracks. Let them shine, because they prove you rebuilt yourself. That night, Alex opened his design software for the first time in 18 months and started creating again. His hands that used to shake from withdrawal were now steady. His mind that used to be foggy from alcohol was now clear, and he designed a logo for a local business just to prove to himself he still could. 1 week later, that business called him. "We love this. Can you do our full brand identity? We'll pay you $3,000. And Alex realized he just made more money from 1 week of design work than a month of serving coffee. But more importantly, he'd proven something to himself. He wasn't broken beyond repair. He was Kintsugi, cracked and golden and more beautiful than before. 4 months into this practice with Mr. Sato, Alex quit his barista job and went full-time freelance. 6 months in, he was making more money than he'd ever made. 8 months in, his ex-girlfriend Emily texted him, "I heard you're doing amazing. I'm proud of you." 9 months in, Alex hadn't smoked a cigarette in 14 days, hadn't had alcohol in 3 weeks, was sleeping 8 hours, exercising 4 days a week, seeing his family regularly, working on projects he was proud of. But the real transformation wasn't any of those external things. It was that he'd become completely different. Not better, different. The old Alex tried to change through massive willpower and always failed. The new Alex changed through tiny habits and never stopped. One morning, Alex showed up to the coffee shop just to visit, and Mr. Sato was there as always. Alex sat down and said, "I never properly thanked you for saving my life."
Mr. Sato smiled gently. "I didn't save your life. I gave you 8 tiny habits, and you did the rest."
Drop a comment right now. Which of these 8 habits are you committing to starting tomorrow? Not all 8, just one. Write it publicly, because public commitment is where change begins. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, you're not damaged. You're being transformed into something more beautiful than before. Don't hide your cracks. Fill them with gold and let them shine.